Good afternoon, Karen. Angela Pearman for ABC National News. Paul Keating is under attack today for taking the Republic debate onto American TV. Mr Keating appeared on The Breakfast Show, Good Morning America, telling the audience why we should cut our constitutional ties with Britain. But John Hewson says it's too early in the debate to make such comments to anyone. The International Olympic chief has praised Sydney for its environmentally friendly bid for the Games. Today, Mr Juan Antonio Samaranch officially opened Sydney Olympic Park at Homebush Bay. He said the construction plan is a perfect illustration of Sydney's pledge to protect the environment. In France, police have shot dead a gunman who held 6 children and their teacher hostage at a school for 3 days. Authorities say all the children are safe. The gunman had demanded a ransom of $20 million and a getaway car. More on these stories tonight, but now time for sports news.
In today's program, Australian wonder jockey Mick Dittman spreads his wings to Hollywood with success. And former Russian world amateur champion, now Australian, Tszyu takes a step closer to a world title shot. And those stories later. But let's leave the barrier with the running of the Doomben 10,000 this afternoon in Brisbane. Champion Kiwi galloper Rough Habit carried all the sentimental money as well as a whopping 60 kilograms.
As they approach the home turn, they've got 350 metres to go. Sam Nam's just in front, Committal second. Bucks Pride has popped the big question. He's finishing brilliantly on the outside. And here comes Unequalled. Unequalled is coming out to Bucks Pride. Bucks Pride is the leader. Unequalled going to him. Blondin on the outside is finishing quickly now. It's Unequalled in front. Blondin is chasing Unequalled. Unequalled still in front, holding them, and he's won it. Unequalled first, Blondin second.
Unequalled, carrying the lightweight of 49.5 kilograms too good. There was a double protest. Fifth against second upheld. Bucks Pride, who missed a place, was elevated to second placing. And at Hollywood Park in Tinseltown, Australian Mick Dittman has taken out the claiming handicap in a special race club link-up.
Blushing Bow finding more under a hand ride. Weyburn hard-ridden on the outside. It's Blushing Bow and Weyburn coming through the lane together. Weyburn on the outside going to touch him. Here's the wire and Mick Dittman has won it on Weyburn's.
To cricket, and Australia's young batting tyros Matthew Hayden and Michael Slater continued their run-getting feats last night against Sussex. In reply to the home side's 353, Australia was 3 for 306 at stumps. Slater made 73 and Hayden 66. Damien Martin was unconquered on 78. Both Slater and Hayden are the talking point of English cricket at the moment. The two youngsters have shown disdain for the English county attacks, and both are pressing for one-day and test spots. Last night, their opening stand produced 115, the century coming in just 19 overs. Hayden, 66, was first to go when he failed to pick a wrong-un from leg spinner Ian Salisbury. Slater departed after lunch for 73 when he helped one on from paceman Eddie Giddens. An unbroken fourth wicket stand of 69 between Damien Martin and Steve Waugh saw Australia trailing by 47 when rain intervened. The Australians will be hard-pressed to force their third straight first-class win with only 1 day remaining. The Australian men's water polo team made history this week with third placing in the World Cup in Athens. It's the best position ever achieved by Australia at this level, and made even more special by the fact that the team was -6 of its Barcelona Olympians.
Clark also in there. He's the one that stays, turns around and shoots. And a goal to Australia.
The previous best attained by the men's team has been 5th at Olympic level.
When they finish 6th or 7th in the world, it's still a fantastic result, but that magical little round medal that they come back with makes all the difference and gets the sort of awareness that I think they've all been striving for.
One of the team's new faces is centre forward Rod Jones, part of the AIS residential program.
It was a nice balance really between some of the older guys giving some of the newer guys some experience and some of the newer guys really wanting to cement a place in the team.
Australia's bronze came after a 9-6 win over the United States, a side which defeated the Aussies 6-0 in a pre-Olympic series last year. And with confidence now high, the team has a chance to avenge their loss to Olympic and World Cup champions Italy when the side tours down under next January.
A mighty effort by the Australians. Well, it's been a hectic week for the Australian women's hockey team. They've undergone a name change and at the moment are playing Korea for the third time in 4 days. The new-look Hockeyroos also have a new mascot stroke minder, who was introduced by Captain Sharon Buchanan before having a quiet word with the Korean players. The Australians went 1-up in the 3-test series yesterday after Buchanan equalised in the second half before centre-forward Lisa Powell scored the match winner. Today, as part of his Olympic inspection tour, IOC President Juan Antonio Samaranch was introduced to both sides before the third and final test match. And that game has been in progress for about 20 minutes now. Let's cross out to the State Sports Centre. Jim Maxwell, our reporter out there. The Australians apparently got an early goal, but over to you, Jim.
Yes, it's been a very good effort so far, Gordon, by the Australian side. Korea has come back, some excellent defence by Australia here, keeping them out. In fact, it was Lisa Powell again who scored after just 3 minutes of the game. A bit of a scramble in the goal mouth, and Lisa was there on hand in that scramble to make a very good flick past the Korean goalkeeper and get Australia 1-up. Of course, Australia building up for the tour to Japan at the end of the month, and later on the Champions Trophy in the year. So Rick Charlesworth, only 6 weeks in the job, has a lot to do here to try and build up the team that he wants. So there's a bit of culling going on. We're seeing 11 of those that went to Barcelona involved in this event. There'll be more coming back for the tour to Japan. And what he wants really is more speed and certainly a greater expression of individuality from the Australian team, as well as a much higher conversion rate from those penalty corners. And at the moment, well, Australia doing pretty well here. They're just a little bit disjointed because the Koreans have been at it for 2 months, Australia just for a couple of weeks. But they're leading 1-0 halfway through the first half, and Lisa Powell there in very, very good form up at centre forward.
Australia's Olympic hockey commentator Jim Maxwell. Well, Australia's rise through the world gymnastic rankings in the past 2 years has been little short of meteoric. Steve Rebelliard is in Perth checking on the progress of a new breed of female gymnasts in the Australian Championships.
Taking up the cudgels are 15-year-old Rebecca Jackson, who was the top-placed Australian in the individual all-around competition last night, Julianne Monaco, one of our Olympians who is young enough to stay with the sport, and Joanna Hughes, who but for an elbow injury would have been in Barcelona. This was her first serious competition in 18 months.
Our national coach for women was very clear that this is to be a training year because next year is such a very heavy competition year that we have to concentrate on new skills and obviously lift the level of our difficulty.
There can be few doubters that our institute program is producing high-quality gymnasts who will perform with great credit when Australia hosts the Worlds next year and in Atlanta in '96.
Paralympic ski champion Michael Milton was this week named Australian Skier of the Year. Karen Tighe caught up with the 20-year-old at work in his parents' ski shop in Canberra.
And that is a wonderful time for Michael Milton, 36.73.
It's just over a year now since Michael Milton took gold at the Albertville Paralympics, Australia's first at such a level of competition. This week's award, though, has still come as a surprise.
Yeah, it was a fairly big surprise because it was such a high class of nominees. There was freestylers, snowboarders in there, and for me to come out and win was fantastic.
Milton took up skiing at the age of 10 after losing a leg to bone cancer. He now holds a scholarship with the Australian Institute of Sport. The 20-year-old recently returned home from 4.5 months overseas, taking gold, silver and bronze in competition at next year's Paralympic venue Lillehammer in Norway.
Back when I started skiing in sort of 1985, 86 and through to sort of 1988, I was put in the community affairs section of the paper, and that was sort of it. Now we're being put in the sports section of the paper where we should be.
Milton has 19 races scheduled this season before heading overseas in November to prepare for the Paralympics. August's Australian Disabled Championships expected to attract teams from America and Norway.
Former Australian soccer coach Frank Harrick will be relying on youth and fitness being telling factors in tomorrow's NSL Grand Final at Parramatta Stadium. His young side Marconi face defending champions Adelaide City, who have an edge in experience with 7 Socceroos in their ranks. With an average age of 22, Marconi is 6 years younger per man. Harrick has no doubt his side is fitter, but he's also been around long enough to realise that Grand Final intensity is unique.
Adelaide City is nearly 28, and those are the best ages for big things.
Aric has enormous respect for City's classy lineup. They're a stable, well-balanced team who instinctively know each other's game. Although it was a new recruit, Damien Morey, who gained the spotlight with 2 well-taken goals against South Melbourne last Sunday in the preliminary final. Because Marconi's game is based on speed and risk-taking, Aric has singled out stately young goalkeeper Mark Schwarzer as his key player tomorrow.
Sometimes when we get caught out at the back and I mean the team sort of counter-attacks, and when you play teams like South Melbourne and Adelaide City, which are really good on counter-attacks, I mean, I'm there, I suppose, to do a job, and that's my job.
Marconi has won both matches this season against Adelaide City. Both have been extraordinary games, producing 15 goals. So how many is the 61-year-old grandfather expecting tomorrow?
I think that the result will be 2-0.
Who to?
In our favour.
Sacked Tottenham Hotspur Chief Executive Terry Venables has been reinstated to the job by the High Court, hours after his controversial dismissal by the board. The judge's decision puts Venables back at the club until the next court hearing on May 25.
Terry Venables walked out of the boardroom brawl to the cheers of hundreds of supporters who believe he is Tottenham Hotspur. There's still no official explanation for the sacking from White Hart Lane, but Venables has won the first round of the war in the courtroom. Hotspur has just started turning a profit after being more than £20 million in debt.
In basketball, only 2 games played in the NBL last night. The North Melbourne Giants handed Hobart their 5th straight loss, while in North Queensland, newcomers the Townsville Suns recorded their first victory with a win over top-of-the-table Newcastle.
The Townsville Suns went into the final quarter with an 8-point cushion over the Falcons. That was soon reduced to 4.
Quickly to Dozier.
Dozier single-handedly brought the Falcons back into the match.
Still with Dozier. Oh, strong play, Terry Dozier.
But the Suns could smell their first victory. Blades 17 points, one of the strongest of the season.
Blades, 2 points. He counts it.
In defence as well, the Suns were superior.
Thought about it, gets it outside to the 3-point specialist, Johnson. Oh, shoots, rebound, Remus Curtinitis.
With their lead increased to 9 points, the Suns put on a show.
Oh, he likes it. The Suns are home.
And finally, Townsville's drought has been broken.
Full time. The Suns have done it. They have broken the drought here in North Queensland.
Russian-born Tszyu has celebrated his new Australian citizenship with a first-round knockout of American Larry LaCourciere in Newcastle last night. The 24-year-old took his professional record to 8 straight wins, continuing his rapid rise in world rankings.
The former world amateur boxing champion was up against a previously unbeaten American, Larry LaCourciere.
LaCourciere in immediate trouble against this Russian thrashing machine, Tszyu.
The fight lasted just 2 minutes 42 seconds as the American was sent to the canvas 3 times.
Tszyu is just fantastic. No wonder the fans are in. Oh, that is a superb blow. A left hook, Jeff, and is that it?
The super lightweight contender for the world crown was rated 8th before last night's bout. He's now much closer to clinching a chance at the IBF or WBC world title.
Larry LaCourciere's in his way. That's over. That's all over. That's the 3rd one. It's a knockout.
It was the 4th time in his professional career Tszyu had won in the first round.
Yes, he really is a thrashing machine. New South Wales centre Chris Johns has been ruled out of the Blues lineup for Monday night's 2nd State of Origin clash at the Sydney Football Stadium. Canberra centre Jason Croker has been flown into Sydney and will take Johns' place on the reserves bench. The Blues trained on a chilly Sydney Football Stadium this morning. Coach Phil Gould reports few other injury worries in the Blues lineup. Right, to rugby league then still, and a split round this weekend. And today's big rugby league match featured neighbours Wests and Penrith at Campbelltown. Both sides have been down on their luck this season. Warren Boland, who came up with the 2 points?
Well, Gordon, West defeated the young Penrith side 24-10. They scored 4 tries to 2. Tries to Georgalis, Langmack, Simons and Carney. Leeds kicking 4 from 5. Zurab and Presdy scoring for Penrith. Girdler 1 from 2. And the wind played its part in this game today. Leeds goes a little higher this time. Now, will they go for it? They might as well let it go. Adamson makes a mess of it. He doesn't know where it's gone. Will score a gift try. But there was more orthodox play in most of it, and West the winners today.
Thanks, Warren. In the AFL today, Hawthorn and Collingwood met in front of a big crowd at Victoria Park. Collingwood fans were eager to see the Magpies break the pattern of history against the Hawks, who've won 20 of their last 22 clashes.
Despite the continuing absence of Magpies Dacos and Brown, Collingwood managed to serve it up early to the Hawks, securing a 13-point lead in the first quarter.
Fraser snaps and goals.
It was an even and low-scoring second quarter. Both sides had plenty of opportunities, but the Pies were playing into a stiff breeze. They still maintained the lead going into half-time.
Could have lost it. Still Cooper going in after it. There's Russell, good play. Out the Monkhorst, on the McGuan, Jarman, now McGuan, in towards Rocker. Great kick, Cooper.
Despite some great play by Dunstall in the forward pocket, the Magpies looked set for victory.
Yes, an important win for Collingwood in front of 30,000 fans, 18 points their margin. Footscray up by 28 over Carlton, and Essendon, only their third win of the season, downing St Kilda. Well, Australia's